Okay, welcome everyone. Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts, and welcome to my earnings stream that I do every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Today we have Broadcom and we have DocuSign. So Broadcom is ticker symbol AVGO, DocuSign ticker symbol DOCU. These two companies are reporting. Let's see here. DOCU is reporting at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. So we got about 5 more minutes on that one. Hey, Nikki, what's up? The forecast EPS is 0.81. The forecast revenue is 746.9 million. They are trading above their anchored VWAP. Their anchored VWAP's around 83, 84 bucks a share. And going into the earnings, DocuSign, they had a PE ratio of 78. EPS of 5.08. Getting some pre-earnings movement here. DocuSign, it's very much they're a profitable company. Year-over-year numbers are good. They usually range between 27 million and 33 million. They've also had 62 million to 83 million in the past two earnings. That's positive net income. They are a profitable company. Debt to asset ratio only 50%. That's good. We're gonna get their data here, probably about 3 or 4 minutes. The other one is Broadcom. They report at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Their forecast EPS is $1.58, and their forecast revenue is 14.9 billion. They were trading well above their anchored VWAP. Their anchored VWAP is probably around 195-ish. Going into the earnings, AVGO had a PE ratio of 59, nice and positive EPS 2.07. They even pay a little dividend, 0.9%. AVGO, profitable company, ranging from like 4 billion to 5 billion in positive net income past two earnings. Debt to asset only 57%. So I like both companies. AVGO I like a little more than DocuSign. It's about 4:02 p.m. Eastern, and just getting some pre-market jitters here on the price action for both these stocks. We go over here to TradingView real quick. I'm gonna go to 1 minute chart. And should be getting the earnings on DocuSign first. Any minute now for them. And I'll have my other screen pulled up. As soon as I get EPS revenue, any guidance, I'll let everyone know about that. TK on Discord. Got the little call debit spread on AVGO. Very cool. I like debit spreads. That's a good trade for earnings. Because if you pick the right strikes, it's nice and affordable. Yeah, okay, only 54 bucks each. Very nice. So you can almost double your money if it works out. I guess it just depends what how wide the spread was. If it was $1 wide, you only paid 54 bucks. And that means 100 minus 54, so you get the max profit of 46 plus your $54 back. 46 divided by 54. So yeah, that's a nice 85% return on that call debit spread if it works out. Let's see what happens. Now, AVGO, of course, is a semiconductor company, and DOCU, it's a software company. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I like software companies this year. A lot of them have been performing pretty well. It's about 4:04 p.m. Eastern. About 45 seconds left. We should get the data for DocuSign. And after we go through that and see what the reaction is and get the data, EPS revenue, any guidance, by that time we should have Broadcom's data. Okay, nice TK. Up 10 bucks so far. All right, it's Romo. What's going on? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Hope your trading week's going well. It's Thursday. Got one more day left. Tomorrow's Friday. All right, it's almost 4:05. Broadcom, Justin on YouTube, Broadcom reports at supposedly 4:15 p.m. Eastern. So we got about 10 minutes on Broadcom. DocuSign's supposed to be reporting right now. Looks like they're kind of getting a negative reaction already. They closed the regular session at $92.90, down 1% on the day. Just give it a second for the price to settle down. And let me see if I can get some EPS revenue. Yeah, they're getting a negative reaction, down 5%, 6% now. I'm going to get that data right now. Okay. The implied move for DocuSign was almost 8%. It's like 7.7%. So implied move, like $7.31 a share, either up or down. Of course, it's looking like it's going down right now. So yeah, it's down about the expected move right now. So we'll see if it ends up going a little further. Expected moves aren't, 100%. Seen stocks do double the expected move. Some stocks do half the expected move. But it's a good guide. It's a good guide, especially for like spread trading and stuff like that. All right, let me go back to my other screen. And it's 4:06 p.m. Eastern. And as soon as I got that DOCU data, I'll post it on the bottom of my screen for everybody. They were up 25%. DOCU was up 25% since their last earnings. Kind of interesting. Let me go to DOCU's investor relations page real quick. And got about about 9 more minutes for Broadcom. I know a lot of people are here for Broadcom, so as soon as we get that, I'll post it for everybody. All right, got a little graphic here, courtesy of the earnings correspondent. This is for DocuSign. Let's see if I can keep the chart on the right. There we go. So far, negative reaction. They did beat EPS. The forecast EPS was 0.81. They just reported 0.90. They beat EPS by 11%. And the revenue, they beat revenue as well. So double beat by DOCU, but they're selling off. That tells me it's probably guidance related, right? Their EPS was up 10% year over year. Revenue was up 8% year over year. So, I mean, double beat, and they got some growth year over year numbers. Got to be the guidance, right? So just give me a few more minutes, and I'll get the guidance for everybody, what I can find. But almost certain it's guidance related. So just give me a few minutes, and we'll see what we got here. Okay, got a couple, got some notes from the CEO. Yeah, Digital Sensei. We were laughing about that earlier. Not really laughing, but we were talking about it earlier in the Discord. This whole Trump and Musk kind of fighting back and forth like some high school kids. Pretty wild. We're living in some wild times, that's for sure. We'll see what ends up happening about that, but I think the latest on that was Trump was, I don't know, striking back at Musk, saying, okay, something about the subsidies and the contracts that he's getting for his companies, and like kind of threatening him. It's pretty wild what's going on with them too. So DocuSign's dropping. It's got to be for guidance. Let me just double check here. Sorry, I got carried away talking about Trump and Musk. Let's see here. Just a couple things. Okay, revenue 763.7 million. That was up 8% year over year. Subscription revenue up 8% year over year. All right, GAAP net income per diluted share was 34. Look at some other things here. I mean, their data looks good, but it's the guidance. It's got to be. Let me see. Billings were up 4% year over year. Okay, note from the CEO, Q1 was an important quarter for DocuSign's long-term transformation as we delivered on an ambitious product roadmap and surpassed 10,000 intelligent agreement management customers. That was said by Alan Ferguson, is the CEO. In Q1, our financial performance was strong across revenue growth and profitability. Okay. Let me look at some other things here. Let me post the EPS and revenue for everyone, and then I'll keep looking for the guidance. Usually they'll give updated numbers on the remainder of Q2 performance and the remainder of the fiscal year performance when they announce earnings. So that's kind of what the guidance is, kind of giving people like an outlook of what's to come for the remainder of the quarter and the remainder of the fiscal year. So what happens is some companies will lower their guidance from what the estimates were supposed to be. And anytime they lower guidance, it's not going to matter whether they beat EPS or revenue. That kind of goes out the window. And if they lower guidance, it's going to get a negative reaction. That's just the way it is. Investors are more forward looking, right? So the guidance actually holds more weight than the EPS and revenue, I think. I mean, there's some sectors and industries where revenue is pretty important, especially tech companies and stuff like that. But definitely that guidance, that's the big one. So basically, that's what's happening to DOCU right now. Even though they beat EPS and beat revenue and had some green growth year over year, you reduce that guidance for the remainder of Q2 in the fiscal year, it's going to get the investors are going to sell. It's going to sell off a little bit. So that's basically what's going on with DOCU. Also, Daniel on YouTube, thanks. Let me see here. Somebody can crash markets Trump and his chaotic policy with unclear purposes. Yeah, I mean, Trump definitely likes to talk, and I'm not going to get too political on here, but it is what it is. Trump likes to talk. He likes to use, he likes to tweet and use X, Twitter, if you will, and it's just the way it is. The markets are going to be volatile, when he's in power, and we've already got a real good taste of that for these past 5 months, right? Every time, he puts out a tweet or a news report or something, the markets are reacting and whipsawing, and it's pretty volatile. Let me post these numbers for DOCU, and then we're going to switch over to Broadcom. They're supposed to report in about 2 or 3 more minutes. Let me post this on the bottom of my screen. There's the DOCU data. But let me keep looking for some guidance on DOCU, because my gut feeling is they lowered the guidance. So that's usually what happens when you see the sell-off, even though they beat EPS and revenue. We'll switch over to AVGO just for a second. Okay. I was just looking at a few other things before I go over there. Okay, AVGO, kind of just hanging out in after hours, not really doing much, and their earnings should be released in about 2 more minutes. Okay. Well, earnings preview. There is a lot of analysts expecting AVGO to beat and raise guidance on AI strength, and analysts to reiterate the buy on AI upside through the remainder of 2025. Let's see if they can do it. DOCU looking like it's trying to bottom out a little bit. Let me go back to trading view. Okay, here's DOCU. Let's get some levels real quick. Yeah, this will be fine right here. I'll put it right there. So R1, of course, the 25% retrace, that's going to be right around 82.50 a share. So I'd like to see it reclaim that level. Make sure this isn't some sort of dead cat bounce or something. Let's see if it can start forming higher lows, and maybe we'll see if the bottom's in. It kind of bottomed right around, so far, around 79 bucks a share. Okay. Okay, DOCU also announced a $1 billion increase to the share repurchase program. So that's good news. Again, they beat EPS, they beat revenue, and they're increasing their share repurchase program by 1 billion. And that just shows you how powerful guidance is. If they lowered the guidance, none of that's really going to matter right now. Of course, $1 billion increase to the share repurchase program, that's definitely positive. Forward looking, I mean, as they continue to repurchase shares, that should have a positive effect on the stock price. Just missed that real quick. So DocuSign's okay. Broadcom's getting a reaction. Let's see if this is the real reaction here. Sometimes we get head fakes, but not really seeing that with these two. It's looking like a negative reaction for both of them. I'll get the EPS and revenue for Broadcom here in a second. Okay, kind of wicking back up here. Just let it marinate for a second. Let investors digest the data. All right. Let me get some other info here while we're waiting to see if DocuSign's going to bottom out here. Let's hope it doesn't form one of those bearish H patterns that we trade a lot. All right, let's see. I mean, the data for DocuSign looks good. It really does. It's that guidance that's killing them. Yeah, Daniel on YouTube. Yep, that's a drop. AVGO is dropping. So, you know, DocuSign had a negative reaction as well. DocuSign closed the regular session at $92.90. They're sitting here in after hours at 81, a little over $81, 81 and some change. Down a little over 12% in after hours. Trying to kind of hook up, but like I said, it needs to get back above 82.50 for me to have any sort of increased confidence that this is going to start clawing back. DocuSign, little side note, over 10,000 customers now using intelligent agreement management. That's the DocuSign's product there. All right, let me see here. More data is coming in. Okay. All right, let's just look at the earnings at a glance here. Free cash flow for DocuSign, $228 million. Business highlights, future outlook. Q2 remainder of Q2 revenue, $777 million to $781 million. Fiscal year guidance, $315 billion to $316 billion. Okay. Okay, AVGO's got a negative reaction. I'm going to get their info here in a second. I was just kind of still looking at DocuSign data. But negative reaction on both stocks so far. Go here. Okay, AlphaSense put out some stuff. Already went over that. Let's see. Revenue by segment. Professional services. Okay. Let's go. Don Corleone. Okay. Q2 guidance. They actually raised sales guidance for Q2. So I'm thinking it's the fiscal year guidance that they lowered. But the remainder of Q2 guidance, they just announced $777 million to $781 million. The estimate for that was $774 million. So they raised Q2 guidance, but I'm thinking they lowered the fiscal year guidance, and that's why they're getting a negative reaction. That happened to another stock just the other day. Which stock was it? Man, I can't remember, but same scenario happened to another stock, and that's why they were selling off. That even though they increased the Q2 guidance, they lowered the fiscal year guidance, and that was it. That was the nail in the coffin, and it sold off. Got some people with some funny memes on Twitter, that's for sure. Okay, let's go to. I want to go to AVGO real quick and get their data. Then I'll show everyone how to get to the earnings calls for both companies. Here, let me look at a few other things. AVGO. AVGO. It's 4:19 p.m. Eastern. 4:19 p.m. Eastern. All right, so AVGO, they did beat EPS. Forecast for EPS was $1.57, and they just reported $1.58, so they beat just by a little bit. Revenue of $15 billion, they just reported. The forecast was $14.97 billion, so just barely beat revenue as well. Nonetheless, double beat, but just barely. Let me see if I can find some of their guidance. I'll put the AVGO EPS and revenue on the bottom of my screen so everyone can see. There we go. Hopefully everyone can see that and it doesn't look too jumbled together. Oh, got some people on Twitter who bought calls on AVGO and they're not too happy right now. But hey, it's not all, let's give it a second here for, AVGO looks like it has a better chance of maybe retracing back up than DOCUSign has. DOCUSign just formed that bearish H pattern that we trade. Look at that. They're testing after hours low right now, $79 a share. Let me just show this little graphic right here so everyone can see this. This is for Broadcom. So just, double beat, but just barely. EPS is up 44% year over year. Revenue's up 20% year over year. Those are two nice numbers there from Broadcom. So double beat on Broadcom. Again, for DocuSign, they beat EPS, they beat revenue. They did raise Q2 guidance, but I think they lowered the fiscal year guidance, and that's why they kind of sold off a little bit. Let me see some financial and operational metrics. Let's take a look here. Total customers, okay. 1.5 million to 1.7 million for operational metrics. Revenue has been increasing. Dollar net retention, yeah, they do a good job with net retention. Okay, DOCU Q2 guidance. It looks like they increased fiscal year the fiscal year guidance as well for DocuSign. The forecast for that was 3.14 billion, and the revenue 3.15 to 3.16 billion for the guidance. So they did raise guidance for revenue for Q2 and fiscal year, and they still sold off. Their margins kind of came in line a little bit. Diluted share count 210 million. Okay, professional services and other revenue 17.5 million. That was down 4% year over year, so that's not good. They also missed on free cash flow. Maybe that's what investors aren't liking. They reported 227 million in free cash flow year over year. So a year ago, 232 million. So free cash flow went down a little bit, and operating cash flow went down a little bit, and share repurchase, shares that they actually repurchased went down a little bit. I don't really see anything too crazy, except for the fact that professional services and other revenue was down year over year. But I think maybe investors were just hoping for a bigger beat, and maybe they were hoping that guidance was going to be raised a little bit more. But DOCU is sitting on $1.1 billion in cash and equivalents, so that's good. All right, let me go to Broadcom again real quick, because it looks like they have a better chance of retracing back up than DOCU has right now. See if DOCU's trying to maybe double bottom here, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe that's it too, Justin. With the whole Trump and Musk little cat fight going on right now. I mean, that's not good for anybody. That's not good for anybody. I guess Musk was saying Trump would have never got elected if it wasn't for him, and they're really going back and forth on each other pretty negatively, that's for sure. So very interesting. AVGO reported 20% growth to 15 billion in revenue in its fiscal Q2, slightly ahead of the 14.92 billion estimate. And their EPS basically came in line. Broadcom guided for 15.8 billion in Q3. That's up 21% year over year and slightly above the 15.7 billion estimate. So Broadcom increased guidance for Q3. Let's see if I can find some other stuff for everybody. Okay, let me refresh this real quick. About 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, DocuSign, they just can't catch a break right now. I don't think their data was bad at all. And they're taking a hit right now. So we're just gonna have to see if it bottoms out. I was thinking 79 the share would have been the bottom, but it's making a new after hours low right now as I'm talking. So, if you're a long-term holder of DocuSign, I wouldn't really look at this as a negative thing. I mean, it's down $14 a share, so I know that sucks, but maybe it can be looked at as a discount. I mean, overall, DocuSign is a good company. They're a profitable company. So if you are going to DCA, not financial advice, but just my opinion, if you are going to consider DCAing in on the discount that's going on right now, just wait for a bottom to form. You don't want to get hurt when you're trying to DCA, but just look for higher lows to start printing, and it's okay to sacrifice a little bit of the reversal, the initial part of the reversal. To ensure the bottom's in and the selling's over with. Just my opinion. So we've got a negative reaction on DocuSign. There's really no signs of it trying to reverse. I mean, it kind of did a little dead cat bounce. That would have been an easy short there. Formed that bearish H pattern we always talk about. But the bottom's not in, so I'm gonna. I guess I'll adjust my fib, my lower level on my fib down to here, but really no levels to kind of give until it starts bottoming out. 89 bucks a share. That's the level it needs to get back above just to at least start the retracing. Look at Broadcom making a solid attempt at retracing here. Let me redo this fib real quick. There we go. So AVGO sitting up here at the golden ratio. That's impressive. This actually, my confidence is a little higher now on this actually retracing this selling. Broadcom earnings were good. Not quite sure what was it? Was SPY in it? No, I mean SPY and the Qs are. Yeah, I guess triple Qs kind of sold off a little bit here in after hours. Maybe that's why DOCU sold off a little bit and Broadcom a little bit because of course triple Qs. This is the ETF that follows the NASDAQ and very tech heavy. But SPY kind of held up. Triple Qs kind of sold off a little more than SPY did, but interesting. Let me go back to the sticks over here. Yeah, AVGO is just did a complete 180. They basically retraced 100% of that little sell-off. So that's great. That's great for the Broadcom bulls. That's nice to see. Look at that. Total reverse Uno on Broadcom. Impressive. Let's see if it can hold up here around baseline from where it closed at. It's above where it closed at now. It closed the regular session at $259.93 a share. Sitting here in after hours at 261. 261.60. Let's see if this starts making higher lows. Maybe it trends into tomorrow. Very interesting. Okay, so we got our moves. DocuSign, negative reaction. No, not really any signs of it reversing yet. So again, just wait for the bottom to come in. You'll know when it starts reversing. It'll start making higher lows. It's pretty easy to spot those. Then you know, you might be onto something there. But until then, you just gotta, you know, if you're wanting to go long on it, or you were long on it, and maybe you wanted to add a little bit because this could be a little bit of a discount if you truly believe in the company. Just wait for the selling to slow down at least. Broadcom did a complete 180 reversal. It's kind of like an ugly looking V-shaped recovery there. So some support levels for Broadcom for the remainder of after hours. That golden ratio would be nice for it to hold there. It's around $256 a share. That'd probably be my S1. S2, probably probably 253 for S2. S1, 256, S2, 253. Pretty easy levels. Keep in mind for the remainder of after hours, and then, of course, pre-market data. All right, it's been about 30 minutes. Our reactions are in. Got some, of course, the resistance level on Broadcom is going to be the after hours high, which it just made after hours high right around a little less than 263, like 262.80ish, around there. That's probably going to be your R1 for now. But let's take a little breather right now. Let's see if this little pullback, ends up turning into a higher low at some point. Got some selling hitting the candles right now. It's testing S1, which is the golden ratio. It's around 256 a share. Then S2, I'd probably put that right here around 253 before these two big green candles printed. Right around there. Good stuff. All right, cool. So we got our reactions, we got EPS revenue and all that stuff. Let me show everyone how to get to the web call for DocuSign. And then I'll get the link for that. And then I'll get the link for the web call, the earnings web call for AVGO. And then we'll go over my some of my open positions on my Fidelity account I have open right now. I'll share my screen on that account and show everyone what I got cooking. But let me get the link for the web call for DocuSign. Okay, let me just kind of move this over here. This is their investor relations page. And go ahead and copy this link, and I'll put this on YouTube for everybody. Okay, so let me put this on the bottom of my screen. All right, so I'll leave that up for a little bit so everyone has a chance to screenshot that link, because that's how you're going to get into the DOCU earnings web call with the upper management. Once you get to that link, you can see right here, right on their homepage, very first thing, June 5th, 5 p.m. Eastern. So about 30 more minutes, and this web call is going to start. And you see the little link here that says webcast. You're just going to click on that. And then if you want some PDF documents on their earnings and stuff like that, they got them available for you right here as well. Again, this web call starts in about 30 minutes, a little less than 30 minutes. All right, so that's how you're going to get to the DOCU earnings web call with the CEO, upper management, that kind of thing. All right, let me get the link for AVGO, and then I'll show everyone some of the positions I have on my Fidelity account right now. Okay, let's go to Broadcom, investor relations. All right, look at Broadcom holding up right here around the golden ratio, 256. It's 256.40 a share, right around there. Give or take some change there, but probably 256 to 257, maybe like a $1 zone. That's probably right where the golden fib is there, and it's looking like it's wanting to hold there. So that's the S1 I had. S2 253 a share. All right, let's go back here. I want to get the link for the Broadcom earnings web call. Okay, give me 1 second. June 5th. Okay, all right. Here's the link here. So let me just show everyone here. I'll keep AVGO on the left. There's Broadcom. So here's the link for the Broadcom web call. Let me post that for everyone. Hopefully everyone had a chance to screenshot that DocuSign link. That'll get you to their web call. And here's Broadcom's earnings web call link. So that'll get you into the meeting. As soon as you get to that link, just scroll down, or you don't even have to scroll down. It's right here, right on the first part of the home screen. You can see Q2 2025 Broadcom earnings conference call. And that's also at 5 p.m. Eastern. So both companies have their earnings web call at the same time in about 25 minutes from now. Just click on that link. They might have you fill out some little form with your name and email, but it's fine. You're not going to get spammed. They're just seeing how many people attend the earnings call. So we got the links to the earnings calls for both companies. We got the EPS and revenue data for both companies. And Mario on YouTube. Yeah, I agree. Oftentimes more. So let me just before I end the stream, let me just show y'all what I got cooking here. Okay, this is my Fidelity account here. I'm about to break 29,000 on this here soon. Started this account little over 25K just a few short months ago, and been doing mostly a lot of passive options, I guess you would call them. Basically writing contracts. All right, so I write contracts and collect premium. That is my number one way of trading. I love doing it. I do a lot of credit spreads. I do a lot of debit spreads. I do condors. Short condors, long condors. Run a ton of the wheel strategy. Lots of cash secured puts, covered calls. I do a lot of buy plus write strategy if they pay a dividend. That's similar to the wheel strategy. I'm basically skipping the cash secured put part if the ex-div date on the underlying stock is coming up. So I skip the cash secured put part and basically buy plus write strategies, buy shares and simultaneously write covered calls against those shares. And I use that as a dividend capture strategy a lot. So that's always fun. I do also have a Schwab account. That's where I do a lot of my spreads and stuff like that as well. I do a lot of day trading on the Schwab account as well, but Fidelity is mostly my income type strategies because I target weekly and monthly income. So first trade here is actually just the other day sold some $10 cash secured puts on Ford. Didn't collect a ton of credit on it, but I know their next ex-div date I think is in July. They actually just paid a dividend this past Monday on June 2nd, and I did collect that because I was just coming off of a buy plus write strategy on Ford from previous. And my shares ended up getting called away, but I made some income on the premium I collected on the covered calls. Then I made some profit just from the share appreciation because my cost basis on my Ford shares was lower than the strike on my covered call, so I made profit on that front. And then also made income by receiving the dividend. So that was like a triple income trade on Ford that I had previously done, and I just got over with that trade. So I decided I'm going to jump back into Ford. Had a little bit of a pullback. They had some news. I think it was like 29,000 F-150s EVs like got recalled for something, and stock took a little bit of a hit, and I decided to jump back in. So anyways, I'm selling cash secured puts. I'm going to keep rinse and repeating the cash secured puts until I get assigned, or when the next ex-div date approaches, I'll put the cash secured puts, I'll cancel that, and then I'll just buy shares so I can, be owner of record on the next ex-div date to collect their next dividend. So that's just basically just running the wheel on Ford by entering the stock by selling cash secured puts, and then I'll exit the stock with covered calls. Easy as that. The next trade I have on here is I did enter some $4.50 strike cash secured puts on JetBlue. These are doing pretty well so far, up 32% on those. I did 10 lot size on that one, and I pulled in $223.21 in credit. So that's kind of what I consider my income there. So that's been a fun trade. I've wheeled JetBlue over 10 times, and it's never done me wrong. I always end up very profitable when I wheel JetBlue, especially when it's around the $5 area. It's just easy money on that one. This other trade is the AT&T $24 put. Um, I'm not bearish on AT&T. Okay, I want to clarify that, even though I own 4 put options. What I'm doing with these put options, these are dated for September 19th, right? What I'm doing with these is I'm actually using those 4 long put options as collateral to sell weekly cash secured puts. So this is a more advanced trade. I already closed out my cash secured put for this week. I got over 80% on it. I had 4 of them. I was targeting the $27 strike on AT&T. So you got to think about it. I have this longer dated $24 put that I paid a debit for that I'm long on. Is September 19th, right? And what I'm doing is using that as collateral. You need a margin account to do this to get the benefits of the buying power reduction. But I'm using those longer dated puts as collateral to sell weekly cash secured puts on the stock to get me weekly income. And just real quick, I'm not going to get too much into it. You can join the Discord and be part of my coaching group if you want to know more. But basically, the main feature of that trade, it's more of like a diagonal calendar spread, is if you were to sell that $27 cash secured put on AT&T by itself every single week, guess how much buying power you would need? $2,700, right? Because it's always the strike price times 100 times the number of contracts, of course. So if you were just doing that weekly by itself, you'd be tying up $2,700 every single week when you do your weekly trades. The beauty of having that longer dated 24 strike put for September 19th is now that forms a $3 wide spread, doesn't it? So instead of needing $2,700 a week, I'm basically just rinse and repeating. I started off with the 27s, but 27 to 24, that's a $3 wide spread. Now I only need $300 a week to sell cash secured puts on AT&T. So do you see kind of where the magic happens? And that's just a tremendous reduction in buying power needed to sell the weekly cash secured puts, which is a beautiful thing. So now instead of tying up $2,700 a week to get my weekly income on AT&T, I'm only tying up $300 to get my income on AT&T. So it's a beautiful thing, and I love doing it. But yeah, that's really the only 3 trades I have open right now on my Fidelity account. I do have some more trades on my Schwab account. For example, I've been wheeling Mara as well. Mara's been a fun one to trade. Basically just running the wheel on it. By the time the wheel fully rotates, I like to target about $1,000 profit on each of these wheels. And usually I have about 4 to 6 wheels going at any given time that are constantly rotating in and out as wheels fully rotate. So, do the math. We're making some decent money, and it's a lot of fun, a lot less stressful than trying to day trade SPX, right? I'm all about trading in a low stress environment, and that's why I tend to be on the contract writing side. So I do lots of sell to open, if that makes sense, and then buy to close when I'm ready to close it out, and then pocket the difference, right? Kind of like selling short. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what I do. Just taking a quick peek back at Broadcom. They did lose the golden ratio. It's looking like it's coming back down, sitting here around 253 a share. That's where my S2 was. But maybe this could be the higher low. So that's probably what I would be watching. Let's see if it can hold 253. I know the price action's pretty ugly. I mean, this thing did 100% retrace back up after the initial negative reaction, and it's almost came all the way back down, almost. But it is holding up here for now at 253. Let's maybe keep your eye on it if you do have a position in this. If you're long on it or something, see if this forms a higher low, and then you should feel a little bit better about things. If that doesn't happen, I mean, it's got to hold 251.50. That's the 25% retrace that I had no problem blowing through earlier when it was retracing back up. That obviously fails 251.50 area. It's obviously going to come back down to after hours low and probably make a new low. DocuSign can't catch a break. They just formed another after hours low. So they're sitting here about $77 and some change. Again, if you're long on DocuSign already, and you believe in the company and you want to hold it for a long time, this could be considered a discount. But before you start taking nibbles on it, got to start putting some higher lows. And I'm not talking about the 1 minute chart. Okay, you get the higher lows on some higher time frames, and your confidence that the bottom's in and it is retracing should go up a little bit. And maybe you can start taking some nibbles. Again, not financial advice, just my opinion on what I would do if I was long on it. And maybe you could get a better average now if you still believe in the company. But yeah, with that said, I had a lot of fun today. It's been about 45 minutes. In about 15 minutes, the earnings web call for DocuSign and Broadcom are going down. Maybe there's a secondary move when those web calls start. We've seen that before, so it's totally possible. So don't lose hope. Both these companies overall are good companies. So if you were long on it before these earnings reactions, it's don't beat yourself up too much, because these two companies will be fine. Their financials are not bad at all. Their financials are good. They're both a profitable company, positive net income, and they'll be fine. But yeah, with that said, my name's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. If anyone's looking for a new home, a good community and a supportive community, check the links in the description. You can even just join the free section and see how you like it. I even think there's a free trial going on right now for the premium section. So just go to the Discord, join the free section, and you'll see any staff members will have the green names, and they'll be able to help you out. But if you are looking for a new home and you do join the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. We can chat a little bit, maybe talk about your portfolio situation, and maybe there's some things I can help with or maybe clarify for you. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone has a great night. And until next time, I'll see everybody in the next stream. Cheers, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.